it. Literally, that's what it is. Like, you have to not care. You have to not care about what anyone thinks. As if I'm gonna say, do you know what? I met Lord Sugar and my life changed. It did change, but okay, this is something amazing that I've achieved. I always think, what can I do that's better? Or what can I do next? Or what's gonna be the next big thing?
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Just like to say a big thank you for today's podcast sponsor, which is Casita Properties, the UK leading property company when it comes to off-market discrete buy-to-let sales. All the links will be in the description below. I welcome and have the absolute pleasure, really excited about this one, to welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I can't wait. Amani, Lord Sugar's youngest business partner. We were just talking about that off camera.
Yeah.
And really excited to get into this. So thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, pleasure's all mine. Let's do the traditional, who are you? What do you do up until now?
Hi, I'm Mani. I'm 20 and I'm the founder of Tresor, which is an online jewellery business. I'm always wearing all my own jewellery. It looks and acts like real gold, but it doesn't cost that to the consumer. So it's like, you can wash your hands in it and things like that. And I push this so much on social media that you can just live in your jewellery and it doesn't fade. And it's also affordable for a young market.
Awesome. So why and when? Why did you get into it?
So my beautiful grandmother, always growing up, was covered in bangles, gold bangles. It's a really big part of South Asian culture to pass down your gold and things like that. And when you're young, you really wanna wear this gold and you wanna be sparkly and blingy like everyone else. And anyway, girls just love gold. Like, that's just like gold and glitter and things like that, I'm sure. But it's just unaffordable. You can't afford it. And the only alternative at the time was like, your typical high street jewelry where you wash your hands and your skin goes green, or it makes your ears ache, or it's just gross things. So what I wanted to do was kind of bridge the gap between solid gold and fashion jewelry, and be able to bring a product to market that's good enough, but also enough to not, make a big dent in the bank.
Well, it's amazing. And for anyone who doesn't yet know Mani and what you do, go check her out, go follow her on Instagram and learn more about her. Because what's really fascinating and interesting and exciting is the fact that you've been able to partner with Lord Sugar at such a young age, which we're going to get onto. But I want to dive into your childhood and actually, some people say entrepreneurship is just built in people. Some people say that, it's something that you learn over time and that you develop. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
But what was your childhood like to lead you up to where you are now? And it's such a fantastic achievement at the age that you are to what you're doing. So talk us through kind of your journey as a child and to where you are now.
So I had, I don't know. I always say I had a normal childhood, and then I tell people and they're like, well, that was not normal kind of thing. But I don't think I had a bad childhood. I had a great childhood. I loved my family and whatever. And they always have been very encouraging, which is why I kind of am the way I am. My mom always pushed me to do anything I wanted to do. And when kind of Tresor came about, she was my biggest supporter. So the reason I actually started Tresor, was I was like 16, 17 and I was in college, and I had done lots of little things before, like lots of little, trying to make money. I was selling things on Depop and things like that. That's how I raised the capital to start Tresor. And at that point, I was just kind of getting a bit ticked off. I was like, you know what? I'm 16 years old. My dad is not letting me buy like these trainers that are expensive. He won't buy me these expensive trainers, or he won't buy me like these shoes and things like that. And I was kind of, when you're young and you like see all the kids around you wearing certain things, you're like, okay, I want to be like that. But obviously when you're young, you don't understand why your dad's not buying you £100 pair of trainers or things like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to solve this problem. I was like, I'm going to solve it myself. So I would do lots of little things. And then Tresor was my main thing that I really wanted to grow. And it was, in the beginning, even though compared to now it was very, very small, back then when you're 16, you see, oh my God, £500. You're like, oh my God, it's so much money. Yeah. So it was just a way to make money for me in the beginning. I just thought it would be a side hustle. I never really thought it would be what it was today.
I think it's so fascinating that you just said there that you were thinking about these things at 16 years old.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people who go into business and, have their own ventures and projects and stuff like that, I think they've all got their own story of selling sweets and doing this and doing that. But, clearly, I think you were very driven, clearly, at that age to start thinking about how can I get that, you know, and then what means do I need to do, which has now led you on to your business. Talk to us about that platform you mentioned. Was it Depop? You know, like how did you even kind of sort of think, okay, there's a platform there, I'm going to use it to leverage and make money from? Because a lot of people do the whole knocking on the door, can I cut your grass or can I clean your car? And like a lot of people.
Yeah, but you got to remember, I'm only 20, right? Like I was 16 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not like that long ago that I would be doing something like that. Like, you know, social media's been around. I've grown up on social media pretty much.
Yeah.
So I knew about Depop and I knew about like Etsy and things like that. And what kind of drove me to Depop was like, so I do a lot of shopping in charity shops and stuff when I was younger, like for your branded stuff or Nike and whatever. And I would go to college and I would see people in Nike and Adidas and whatnot. And I would think like, oh, like I've seen that in the charity shops. It's like a tenner, right? And it's like, okay, where did you guys get that from? Oh, I got it from ASOS, 80 quid. And it's like, oh, hang on. And everything starts clicking. You're like, okay, this is what I can do. So, because people buy things on Depop and it's very like, it's like a trend. Like it was like a trend at the time to like be thrifty and, you know, thrift your clothes and wear secondhand clothes and vintage stuff. And I could list these dirty jumpers from charity shops on Depop and put thrifted vintage 2000 blah 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 jumper, and people would buy it for like 60 odd pound or something like that. And I wouldn't sell a lot. Like I would sell like one every couple of days, but it was at the time, like I said, at 16, a lot of money coming in. But when you factor in like all the other costs, like postage and stuff, I wasn't even making anything. I was just happy to see it happen.
Do you know, it's funny that obviously you say you've grown up with social media. I think that's such a massive advantage. If you are someone that, it's always in hindsight, all of us wish, especially those who are a bit older and stuff like that, you know, we're looking at people now thinking, oh my God, the resources that are available, like there's nothing you can't find out if you're willing to then take it, learn it, apply it and actually put in the work. You can do it all. Yeah. And a lot of people are obviously envious, you know, they're thinking, oh my God, I wish I had that. We all do it. You're living in that day and age. Like you said, 4 years ago, you've grown up with social media. You almost learn marketing as you go along. And something that I'm a really big believer in, and anyone who asks me that lives at home, and I'd love to get your take on this, is that I say stay at home as long as you can, minimal outgoings, and try and build a really strong cash flowing business early on while you don't have children, while you don't have big responsibilities, big outgoings. And obviously, is that kind of a situation that you were able to capitalize on, going, right, I've got a bit of an opportunity here. I know half what I'm doing, I'm just going to go for it. Yeah,
I actually said this in one of my other interviews, right? And I think I didn't get my point across enough, because I said that when you're young, you should just take the chance and do it, like exactly what you said, right? But we forget that like people are in circumstances where that is not something that they're able to do. And if you are young and you do have no responsibilities, you've got no kids, you don't have to look after your parents, you don't have a sick family or anything like that, then take advantage of that. Take advantage of it. It's like, as long as your parents are not going to kick you out and you don't have rent to pay, stay at home and build your business and build your personal brand or whatever, like you said, a steady cash flow, like whatever.
How important has the fact that you've been able to grow up, learn social media, learn tips and tricks of marketing, and you know, how important has that been to you and your business, especially early on? Like, you know, we can really capitalize on the fact that social media, you don't have to really pay too much until you start getting to like paid ads and stuff like that. But how important was that from you from an early sort of starting, you know, getting your business out there?
I think it meant everything, because before I had my investment from Lord Sugar, I was like 19 and my business had turned over more than 6 figures off the back of free social media, literally just free social media. TikTok videos, TikTok did so much for me. And growing, like using TikTok to grew my Instagram, and then Instagram did so much for me. Social media it's just there for the taking. Like you can make so many different types of content for your business or your personal brand, and people are always going to want to be on social media. So it's not like you're not going to have an audience. You just have to go for it. I think you just got to just do it.
Yeah, and it's like balance as well, isn't it? Like something that always comes up, I see this all the time in comments, I'd like to know what you think, is that I find the people who put a lot of negative comments, especially on TikTok, I find that TikTok has a different type of
to Instagram
audience. Yeah. Especially with the comments. Like some of them are quite offensive, but you sit there and like I've laughed quite hard at some of them. I think someone put to me once, I wouldn't trust him to run my bath. And it was like, so there's a different level. I mean, just some of the stuff that they say. But I always find that the people who typically comment, negative comments when people are trying to promote businesses, promote what they do, are typically the ones who probably sit there and actually a little bit naive, the ones that are thinking, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wish I had the confidence. I always find it's those type of people because...
Yeah. And even worse, like if you, for example, like look at someone like me, and if you're a grown man in a corporate career or something, you get paid like, I don't know, 15, 20 pound an hour, and you see a young woman of colour or a young person of colour, and you think, you know, it's like even worse for people like us, because there's a lot of things that are racial and a lot of things that come with being young that people just don't like. They just don't want to see it. And fair enough, it's understandable, I get it. That's why I don't take it to heart. But I've noticed as well, like a lot of my friends are content creators, a lot of my friends are business owners, and all of us that like put out content have to deal with some sort of like race being brought into it for, you know, when it's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but do you know what? You say it's fair enough. I don't think it is fair enough. It's innovation. Like, you know, if we're talking about people who are 30, 40 and above,
Yeah.
they grew up with billboard ads. They grew up with their, you know, everyone, I like this comment where you hear it from older people where they say, oh, everyone's on their phones now.
Yeah.
But then you see the photos of people in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and you look on a train, everyone was reading the paper. Everyone had their head down reading the paper because that's what they had. People are just working with what we have nowadays. And it's the ones that go, do you know what? There's an opportunity. I'm going to take it. And I don't care what people think of me. Good on them. So
yeah,
I think
those
you're
are the kind of people that
right.
do well on social media as well, that if they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't care, you're going to do so well because you can just put anything out there. Like I put the dumbest stuff out there all the time, and I'm really, really transparent on social media. And that's why I get the views, and that's why people watch me. That's why people support me, because I'm just a human being, just being a human being.
Yeah, I think also, you know, I've watched a lot of your stuff as well, is I think something that probably serves you quite well is being relatable.
Yeah.
You talk about the day-to-day happenings. Like I like what you do, you know, when you're in your office and stuff like that, and you all the packing and stuff like that. You show, because I think people like to see the end product and the money and stuff like that, but actually showing the ins and outs and this day wasn't that great and this day was long, and that's where people are like, oh, could I do it or could I not do it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where people grow, and with the content you're putting out, I think that's probably where people take to you. And especially being so young,
yeah, that too,
is also, you know, you're almost taken back and like, oh my God, I need to gain back another 5 years. You know, I need to start working harder.
Do I make you feel old?
A little bit, yeah. Honestly, I'm going to get you to guess my age later. We'll see what you think. But awesome. What would you say has been some of the most impactful things that have happened to you in your career so far that you think, wow, that was great, or, you know, that happened because I did this? Like, what kind of things really stick out to you in your career so far?
So I think one negative that I dealt with in the beginning is like when I first started with Lord Sugar, what I wanted to use the money for was to start developing like paid ads and stuff like that, because I'd never done it before. Everything was organic up until that point. And when I did that, this is going to sound so silly now, I just trusted the first agency that came to me. I just trusted them. I was like, okay, cool, you sound like you know what you're doing, do it. And I lost so much money. And honestly, trying to grow like ads and things like that has been so difficult because it's not something I'm interested in. And I think that's what's like kind of hindering me, is that I find it so boring. I'm like, I don't like these. I don't like Facebook ads. I don't want to look at them. And so it's been really, really difficult. And that's been one thing that's really impacted how the growth of my business and the growth of myself as a person, because I just can't get over it. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. But on a positive note though, I'd say like being able to put out what I do every day and putting it on my personal brand page and things like that, and people just relating to it. Like I will walk around Birmingham and people will come up to me and it's surreal. Like it's like I wanted to make a difference, and slowly like I'm making a little bit of a difference, because people feel like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's what I want people to think, because I never was anyone special. Like I'm just Marnie, and that's what, you know, people like, and they like to see that a normal person can do it, and they can, you know.
If people really take to people who do well but remain humble throughout the process, I think that is such an incredible quality. If you are someone who strives more, ends up being successful, and through that whole process, which change a lot of people, and you can remain humble, I think you stand out from the crowd. And I think you can only do better from it, because I personally know people that got a few followers on Instagram. Yeah. And all of a sudden it went to their head and the money didn't even follow. But that's what I think it's like, that showcasing of, you know, oh, look at me. Is it, do you want to build a good business, a good community, make a difference, or do you want the followers? Like, you know, and sometimes, unfortunately, it goes to people's heads. So I think you're remaining humble. I think that's one of the reasons why. Obviously, people. I mean, I'm excited about this one. I can't wait to learn. You know, it's all exciting.
Yeah.
Being Lord Sugar's partner,
Yeah.
I've sort of seen how he works. You know, I've seen sort of like how he addresses like messages and stuff like this, you know, like how he's very to the point, and a lot of serious businessmen are.
Yeah.
How have you found the experience, and talk us through that kind of beginning to what's going on now of partnering with, you know, he's probably one of the greats in the UK, right? So what is it like?
Everybody asks me this question, and I don't know what you guys are expecting. He's just a person, you know, like he's just a person. He's like, and you know, it's so funny. I said it in one of my other interviews. I was like, he's like a granddad. Like he's just like a granddad. He's just an old man, and he's great. He's real smart, but he's just a person. But he's like,
I do like that.
What? Yeah, he is. No, because everybody does this, like, as if I'm going to say, do you know what? I met Lord Sugar and my life changed. It did change, but, you know, there's not much, like, I can say about him as a person. We have, like, normal contact. Like, we just WhatsApp each other, or he'll just, like, send me... You know, he did that. No, I'm not joking. He sent me, so he found this video on Instagram on his iPad, right? And then he got his phone and he recorded the video and he WhatsApped me it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No screen recording.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
He's just like, you know, a great businessman, but he's just a great businessman.
Yeah, I really like him. I mean, I've watched.
He's so cool. He is so cool, though.
I think one of the things that made me laugh is I saw a video where I think maybe his son went abroad somewhere, ended up buying a Porsche, managed to link it up to, I don't know, he said it was to his account. He tried to buy it on his credit card or something like that.
Gosh.
And Lord Sugar said he got this notification through to say a Porsche had been bought. He literally rang apparently this car dealership up, cancelled it.
Oh my God.
He said, if you want a car, you go work for it. And he ended up getting him a V-dub.
That is so funny.
But like, I really like that because I think...
Yes, he's just down to earth. He just feels normal. Like that's why.
Normal and humble, and that's why people like him, because he's very, very blunt, very to the point.
Yeah.
And like you say, we're going to take that one, like that kind of that granddad. I do like that.
Yeah, he's cool, man.
It made a chuckle.
He is cool.
So, one thing I really want to dive into, because I know a lot of people will learn from this, I think it will be amazing information, is this whole, like, you know, like the female boss trend, you know, females taking over, and female CEO and all this stuff. Is that, I mean, there is, you know, there's a lot of takeaways. I know personally a lot of people, especially females, who are on the verge of wanting to start a business. They want to jump in, and for many different reasons they don't. What would you say, especially to females, young females as well? Like, there, I think, where you can see so much opportunity, and people will watch this video and think, oh my God, Marnie's smashing it. Like, I would love to do that. Don't just watch it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. What would you say to those?
Do you know what? Oh my gosh. There are so many things to worry about, in the world, in life, in anything you do. But just, oh my God, I don't want to swear. Hang on. What can I say instead of that?
You can.
Are you going to beep it? You're going to go beep. Do you know what?
Do a beep.
Yeah, okay. Fuck it. Literally.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, you have to not care. You have to not care about what anyone thinks and what anybody is going to say. You can't. And this is the major problem for a lot of people, is like, okay, I'm not going to do it because this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Just do it and deal with it after. Just forget about it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And at least you won't regret it if you just go ahead and make sure you try something that you've always wanted to do.
Do you think that women, in the day and age that we're in at the moment, there's a lot of pressure? I mean, there's pressures for both male and female, but I personally feel, and another guest I had on to do with NoFap, which was completely new to me, when it was all talking about, there's this sort of pressure that women can get into things like OnlyFans. Like, let me just paint this picture. You could do the hard work, start a legitimate business, scale it beyond your belief, do really well, and sort of hold that, you know, pride, you know, hold your own and be really proud. And then there's kind of the easier way out of starting an OnlyFans. And unfortunately, people can hear, listen and understand the amount of money that you could make simply by starting. Do you think there is that? But
is it the
pressure?
Easier way though? Is it the easier way out?
I mean, well, that's a good question. I don't know. But do you think it's a very difficult decision for women to be put in when you literally scroll on TikTok, scroll on Instagram, and it seems like women can make a lot of money by doing something easier
Yeah, but
than going
men
down
can
the
do
route of a
OnlyFans.
business. Yeah, exactly. But I think the percentage...
You could get ripped and put yourself on OnlyFans and
Actually,
be like,
I'm not
look at my
ripped.
abs. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I'm saying any men can do that, right? Like, it's not just a female thing to do OnlyFans. It's like, you know what? And it's like, this is going to sound so bad. I'm in a room full of men. You lot are the ones that create the demand for it. You created the demand for OnlyFans.
But that's what I mean.
This is why women capitalize on it. It's thinking smarter, right? Like, if I make a demand, you're gonna fill the demand. If I say, or like a group of people decides, okay, we love green t-shirts, someone's gonna start a green t-shirt business. Like, that is just how it was. And it's not so much that women are, you know, finding the easy way out, putting up a picture. How much do you think mentally goes into doing something like that? Like, I don't know how people do it because I'm not someone who would do it. But the people that do it, they must think, you know, how am I going to do this? How the shame that you're going to feel, or like, you know, how am I going to promote it? It feels like, to them, it feels the same as a business. Yeah. That's how it comes across on like social media when people post about being, you know, OnlyFans people. But I don't know. I just don't think it's the easy way out. I don't think it should be called that.
No, I think there will still be. I mean, it's still a business essentially.
Yeah.
If you're actually going to run it, I mean, it's, you know, it's just like we spoke about in this other, you know, pornography and stuff like that. I mean, there is a business, you know, it's, and like you say, it is driven predominantly by men. And that's why I say, I feel like the day and age that we're in is that because everything's so easy in terms of exposure and what we see on a daily basis, it can almost seem like, well, I really like doing this as my hobby. I'd love to turn it into a business. However, I'm pretty good looking. I've got a great body. Do I do that? And I think when you then look at, I mean, for example, if you were to look at your stories, like you put in a lot of hard work to what you do. And I find that we're in a world where it challenges people mentally to decide, actually, do I do this? Do I do that? What do I do? And I think it creates a lot of confusion. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but this is like what are you trying to say? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you actually saying?
I think the exposure of social media can make it hard for women to decide what business to go into. Yeah. Follow a passion or follow perhaps what they're seeing all the time. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's kind of like, do you do that hard graft of building the business?
But it's like, what you see on social media, and this is like any young women watching, what you see of like these women that are doing OnlyFans on social media, okay, good for you, body positivity, whatever, free the nipple, whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, this is sex work. Like, this is sex work, and going into doing something like that and going into a business is completely different levels of work. There's no comparison. It's like, do I do a business or do I be a barista? It's just a completely different set of things. If you feel like you're an entrepreneur and you want to start a business, start a business. If you feel like you want to go into sex work, do that if you want to. But it's not, I don't think they're comparable. I don't think you can say like, you know, it's difficult for women to choose which or which, because I don't know if the same type of person would choose the same type. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's, I know, totally. I totally see what you mean. It's that I think when it comes to social media, I think people do struggle to, I think there's so much marketing in so many things now that there's almost like an overwhelm of what do I do?
No, that is true, yeah.
I have a hobby, I have a passion, but it seems that that's the best way to make money, the quickest way to make money, or I could do that. And I find that people struggle to get the answer. And that's what I mean by, in terms of like the women that I know, they want to start a YouTube, they want to start a clothing business. And I think that just with the amount that we're exposed to, it gets a little bit blinded to actually, do I make the jump and get into it? What would you say from what you've learned and being so young in business? Obviously, normally I would say like, if you could go back to 18 years old.
Oh my gosh, 2 years ago when I was in college.
But actually, let's just take the good and the bad. What have you, and for anyone watching, what would you say, this is what I did, this is what went well, this is what to look out for? What do you reckon?
I have no idea. I don't know. I just do what I do and it just works. And I always say this is I'm just always on vibes. Like, I'm just always on vibes. Whatever I feel like is going to work or what I need to do, I just do it. And I don't ever think, okay, this is something amazing that I've achieved. I always think, what can I do that's better? Or what can I do next? Or what's going to be the next big thing? So yeah, I just don't.
So just getting at it, basically.
Just getting at it all the time. Like, if you know, you need to, if you need to get an idea into your brain, then figure out a way to do that. If you need to execute the idea, figure out a way. Just doing things, really.
Jump the hurdle when it pops up.
Yeah.
And what's your take on like education? Are you big into like self-development, learning? Or
Yeah, like
got any
I'm a
routines?
dropout, but I never stopped learning. And I always say this is like it was never education that was the problem. It was just a setup of uni at the time because I was doing it during COVID. So it's all at home and I was just dead bored. I was like, I can't do this. So I left. But I read, I learn from TikTok. I meet so many new people that I learn things from all the time. I learn from Lord Sugar. I learn from whatever. But I'm very, very big on education and I love learning new things. And I never keep my eyes closed. And I'm always, you know, open
Taking it in.
Yeah, always taking things in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So what would you say to anyone watching, final tips going away from this video to absolutely smash the rest of sort of 2022? People who are on the fence wanting to start, what would you say?
Stop being on the fence. Like, this is your sign to go and do it. Put that on TikTok, okay? You've got to be like, this is your sign to go and do what you're meant to do. Like, if you have an idea in your brain and you want to execute this plan, just do it. Just do it. Get it over and done with. You know, it's like when you put on a wax strip, just rip it off. Just do it. Just do it. It's fine. This is the thing. People don't have this push and people don't have this like, oh, should I do it? Should I do it? Just do it. Just get it over and done with.
It's circles as well, isn't it? It's like who you're around.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if
True.
I have to admit, if I was around your vibes all the time,
Yeah.
you just want to do
I'd be
it
like,
anyway.
just go do it.
Yeah.
You just
No,
have to
let's
do it.
talk, more do.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely amazing. Just before we wrap up, actually, I want to get your take on this because it is, you spoke about it a little bit, TikTok.
Yeah.
Just for the viewers,
Yeah.
what do you think the next 12 months could bring if someone started now and went hard on TikTok?
Honestly, TikTok is like free money. It's actually just free money. If you consistently post TikToks, I make money from TikTok on my personal brand and my business, right? And sometimes brands will pay you up to like £5,000 to make a TikTok. TikTok is the platform. Like, just get yourself out there, make video after video after video, even if it's dumb stuff, and you'll be able to build a brand, a personal brand, be able to advertise your business. It's like, just, you need to jump on it now while it's still, well, you should have jumped on it a year ago, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
but now, if you're not convinced by now, you should, you know, this should convince you.
Mani, it's been amazing. Where can people go to reach out and connect with you?
You can find me at Amani Zubair, MARNIE ZUBAIR on Instagram and TikTok.
Amazing. Thanks so much for joining me on the
you for having
podcast.
me.
And for everyone that's watched, thanks so much. We'll see you all very soon.